Hello YouTube, how's everyone doing? It's Professional here. So today I got a crazy current events video. I know people have requested more of these videos. These are basically videos I do like once every week or every 2 weeks where I just react to like ridiculous stories that are going around and I give my opinion on them. And this was a story that just caught my eye and it was just really ridiculous and I'm pretty pissed off at Uber, and it's the guy. Thankfully, is okay. The guy's made a full recovery, and hopefully, the lawsuit goes forward against Uber. But I'm also going to explain why I think Uber is actually liable in this case for what happened. But basically, the backstory on this case, and I'll link the video down below if anybody wants to watch it. What basically happened is this this CEO, and this case happened back in April, so this has been, this 4 months ago, but the video has now just been released now, and they're talking about it, and there's a lawsuit going on. So the CEO ordered an Uber, and when the Uber driver came to pick him up, the CEO that ordered the Uber had a service dog with him, a very small dog that he held in his arms, and the driver got really angry at him, telling him, "I don't take dogs, I'm allergic to dogs." And the CEO at that point then just told him, then just cancel the ride. It's going to cancel the ride. Well, the driver got pissed off about that, and what he did was he walked up to the guy, headbutted him, and then sucker punched him, knocking him to the ground. And what ended up happening, the guy drove away. Bystander took a picture of the license plate. The guy ended up getting arrested for assault and battery. But on top of that, it's actually found out that the guy wasn't supposed to be in the country. He had a fake driver's license, and now he's gonna get deported as well. But it's just some people cannot control themselves. Some people are just so stupid. But let's watch this video, and I'll also read the case exactly what's going on. But let's watch the video. Here's from Inside Edition.
When a CEO called for an Uber ride, he never thought it would end with him in the hospital. The driver headbutted, then sucker punched him during a dispute over his service dog. Now he's speaking with our Allison Hall in an exclusive interview, and we want to warn you, this video may be upsetting for some viewers.
You don't want this to happen when you order an Uber rideshare. This passenger says he was headbutted and punched out by his Uber driver, and he's got the video to prove it.
He headbutted me, grabbed me, punched me.
45-year-old Brian Coble says he had his service dog Piper with him when he ordered an Uber after dining out. But he says when the car arrived, the driver refused to take the 17-pound golden doodle.
He was very emphatic that she not get in the car.
Coble says he told the driver that Piper was a service animal, but it made no difference. He says he told the driver just cancel the ride.
And next thing I know, he's out of his car yelling, and that's pretty much all I remember.
Coble gets headbutted, then sucker punched. He crumples to the ground as a horrified friend tends to him.
Some guy just knocked some guy out in the parking lot. He's bleeding very badly in the back of the head.
Someone just punched someone and fell on the ground, and his head is bleeding from the back.
Does anyone need medical attention?
Yes, extremely.
Oh man, does anyone need medical attention after they just said that someone got punched and knocked to the ground and is bleeding badly?
And where was Piper during all of this?
In my arms. When I hit the ground, luckily she landed on my chest, and then she sort of wandered around for a minute and then came back.
A witness takes a photo of the Uber as it drives away. Coble, who is CEO for a biotech company, says he suffered a traumatic brain injury as a result of the attack in Charleston, South Carolina.
There's still some lingering effects of it. I get weird tingles in my fingers.
The driver, identified as Vadim Ulyamshev, reportedly told cops he's allergic to dogs. Coble's lawyer claims the driver was not legally in the United States and his license was fake.
He was never supposed to be in our country. He was certainly never supposed to be behind the wheel making money for Uber.
And the CEO is suing Uber and the driver, who is currently being held by ICE. The driver's lawyer says his license is legit and the video doesn't fully tell the story. Now, Uber tells us that while they can't comment on pending litigation, they are deeply committed to safety and they have no place for violence.
Okay, so let me talk about this a little bit here. The guy's lawyer says that the video does not show the full story, but the thing about this is that that's actually irrelevant in this case. Let me actually show you guys why. Let's see the video again here. I'll explain why. But look, we cannot hear what they're saying, what they're arguing about. We can't hear that. We just know that there's some kind of exchange of words here. But regardless of what the exchange of words here is, you cannot do this. You cannot walk up to somebody and, headbutt them and then sucker punch them. You cannot do that. So basically the guy's lawyer arguing that the video does not show everything, it doesn't matter. It does not matter in this case, because it's even if you're arguing, it doesn't matter what he's saying to that person, you cannot walk up to them and sucker punch them. The only way that this would matter maybe is if they show that there was some kind of altercation beforehand where he touched him, but at that point there's no threat, there's no continuous threat. So even if this guy got knocked down, had hit him before this had been filming, there's no continuous threat. He walked up to the guy and he knocked him out. So this guy, this Uber driver's lawyer, saying that the video doesn't show everything. Well, the video is everything pretty much at that point, is because it doesn't matter. You cannot walk up to somebody, headbutt them and then sucker punch them, regardless of whatever the argument might be about. I will say the other thing about this, I did a little bit of research. This guy he's from Russia originally. He came into the United States illegally in December 2022. So he's been here for basically a year and a half. How does this guy already driving an Audi? And this looks like an expensive car, an Audi, SUV here. How does this guy already have this car and he's been in the country for a year and a half? So they're saying that the guy's license is fake, that this guy, the victim in this case, his lawyer is saying that this guy's license is fake and he's suing Uber. Now, it's for obvious reasons we know why he's suing this guy. He's suing this guy because he inflicted, bodily harm on him, assault and battery. But the reason that he's suing Uber, people are wondering why he's suing Uber, is because Uber employed this guy in the first place. Uber hired this guy in the first place. So Uber, you download the app, you fill out an application. I know you give your driver's license, they do like a background check. And while you don't necessarily have like a boss, you open up the Uber app and then you look up for passengers in your area and you pick them up and stuff like that. So Uber are the ones who did the checks on this guy. They did the background checks on this guy. They checked this guy's driver's license. They checked this guy's ID, verified who this guy was exactly, and then decided to take him on as an Uber driver. So Uber does have responsibility. The Uber lawsuit might not go through because Uber has this, is so powerful. They have such a huge team of lawyers. They might just reach a settlement with the guy just to get it over with. But that's basically why he's justified in also suing Uber, because of the fact that Uber had employed this guy in the first place. This guy was a driver for Uber. Now, what I will say about this is they're claiming that the guy has a fake license. And they're basically... There's three things that I can think of happening here. Either he got a license from another state, because South Carolina does not, if somebody's illegally in the country, South Carolina does not allow you to actually have a driver's license. I think there's like 13 states that allow that. So he had to have gotten a license from another state. That's one possibility. The second possibility is the driver's license is fake. That is basically the possibility. The license is entirely fake. And yes, people do print out fake IDs. When I used to work in retail, I saw so many fake licenses for alcohol. And people don't just use fake licenses to get, underage drinking. They use fake licenses just for stuff like this. And the third thing that might have happened here is that this guy basically might be paying somebody that's already using Uber. So there might be somebody that has an Uber account that is already like an Uber driver, and what happens is that person then sells their account to somebody, and basically they give them like 10 or 15% of their earnings, and in that case the illegal immigrant can use the app. This is why, like, for example, sometimes when people order DoorDash or they order Uber Eats, for example, the people that come, to deliver your food, to pick you up, they're driving the car, but they look nothing like the person that's actually in the picture. The reason for that is because there's a thing where people will sell their DoorDash accounts, they will sell their Uber, Uber driving accounts, and the illegal immigrant will then drive, and they'll pay them like, 10% for being able to use their account, and the person that owns the account basically gets like free money for nothing. That's basically what happens in a lot of these cases. I know that's what happens a lot in New York, where I'm originally from. But let me actually read and the guy is from Russia, by the way, and he's getting deported to Russia. He's actually being held in ICE custody right now, but let's read the entire lawsuit case here. Lawsuit filed, CEO punched by undocumented Uber driver. Columbia, South Carolina, the law offices of Kenneth Berger has filed a lawsuit against Uber Technologies Inc. and Razor LLC on behalf of Mr. Brian Coble, a biotech CEO who suffered a concussion after an Uber driver attacked him in a restaurant parking lot near the 700 block of King Street in Charleston on April 24th, 2025. According to the complaint and surveillance video. A dark-colored Audi SUV arrived to pick up Mr. Coble and guest. Mr. Coble, holding his small leash dog, opened the rear door for his guest and attempted to enter the vehicle. Moments later, after the brief interaction to the front passenger side, the Uber driver exited the SUV, confronted Mr. Coble with a cell phone held close to his face, grabbed him by the throat and shoved him, then headbutted him and punched him in the head. Mr. Coble and the dog fell to the ground. The driver re-entered the SUV and drove away, leaving Mr. Coble unconscious on the pavement. I don't understand this. I don't understand why some people cannot have more self-control. I just do not get this personally. Is he wasn't gonna. I mean, what did the driver expect at that point? The driver was gonna expect that the guy would just leave his service animal there. It's a service dog. He's allowed to have it with him. He needs it with him. And so, what did the driver expect the guy to do? Just to leave the service dog there and get in the car? He said, no, if you're not letting my dog get in the car, then I'm gonna cancel the ride. And then the guy got pissed and walked around and decided to punch him and headbutt him. Some people have no self-control. Now this guy got, the guy was on a $10,000 bond, and he's also going to get deported. So, what a stupid thing to basically, get deported by. Now he's going to go back to his country. Multiple eyewitnesses called 911. Mr. Coble was transported to the hospital, treated for a head laceration, and diagnosed with a concussion. Law enforcement later informed Mr. Coble that the driver's license was fake, and that the driver is a Russian national, not legally in the United States. The driver was arrested and was detained by ICE in Georgia. So yeah, so right here we have confirmation that law enforcement confirmed that the driver's license was fake. So now you have another thing here. Now you're probably going to have another charge on top of the assault and battery, having a fake license, driving around with that. Driving around with that fake license. And again, how did he get an Audi SUV car being in the country for, he's been in the country illegally for a year and a half. I don't know how he got that type of car there already. Or two and a half years. I'm sorry, not a year and a half, 2.5 years. But December 2022, he's been here since. So how did he get, the money for that type of car while being here in the country illegally already for, 2.5 years? But basically, the lawsuit against, Uber is justified in this case because Uber has the responsibility to do the background check. Uber has to check the guy out. Uber has to check, who this guy is exactly. The guy wasn't legally in the country, but on top of that, the guy had a fake driver's license. So Uber has to check that. When they're doing a background check, they have to check that. If you employ somebody without doing a background check, and then that person goes and does something bad while they're working for you, you could be held liable for that. And that's basically where this case is going for Uber. So I do think that he's in the right to actually sue Uber for this. If Uber had done better background checks on this guy would not have been hired as an Uber driver in the first place. Riders rely on Uber to know who is behind the wheel. Yup, said Kenneth Berger, a counsel for Mr. Coble. We're seeking answers and accountability for how an undocumented individual using a fraudulent ID was able to access Uber's platform, assault a passenger, and flee. Publicly traded companies that profit from public trust must have screening and real-time identity systems that actually protect people. The complaint alleges that as a direct result of the driver's conduct while working for Uber and Razor, Mr. Coble suffered serious injuries and losses, including lost enjoyment of life, physical pain and suffering, mental anguish, and medical expenses. No one should have to wonder about the identity of the driver arriving for their ride. Be concerned about a driver's potentially violent background or whether they're even legally permitted to be driving here, said Mr. Coble. Rideshare businesses like Uber are built on an inherent level of trust in the brand and the belief these billion-dollar companies taken the appropriate steps to protect riders for verification of drivers' backgrounds and qualifications, and this is clearly failing. The case is ultimately about accountability and safer rides for everyone using rideshare services. And this case could actually blow up, and this case could actually become big, because this could actually change completely how Uber actually does their background checks and their verification for drivers. So as a result of this case, Uber actually might end up changing their entire policies for their app. Again, this basically says what happened here. Incident, throat grab, shove, headbutt, punch, victim and dog fall, driver flees. Driver status per law enforcement, fake license, not legally in the U.S., Russian national arrested, detained by ICE in Georgia. So about this, what I will say about, I hope that this guy basically gets a huge settlement from this guy, and I hope he gets a huge settlement from Uber. Now, for people wondering why the guy hasn't been deported yet, because it's been about, it's been 4.5 months since this incident happened. The reason the guy hasn't been deported yet is because he has to stand trial for this charge. He has to be punished for this charge for the assault and battery. But then afterwards, the guy is going to get deported. I'm 100% positive this guy is going to get deported. There is no question in my mind this guy's going to get deported. And I mean, what a stupid thing to get deported for. I mean, the guy could have just controlled himself. He could have just controlled himself and said, okay, fine, cancel the ride, I'm going to leave, and there would have been no incident. But no, he could, like I said, some people have no self-control. They cannot control their emotions, decided to get angry angry, decided to go and punch this guy holding, you know, a service animal. What a, you know, the driver's an absolute piece of crap. And now he's going to get deported to Russia. And, you know, we know what's basically going on in Russia right now. And that's his fault. You know, it's 100% his fault. And yes, I 100% support this driver getting deported in front of the country. That is, you know, just what a stupid thing is. So, yeah. So he's going to get deported back to Russia. And that is 100% his fault. But thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you guys think down below. I'm also going to have another crazy current events video later this week about a CEO that actually stole a kid's, you know, hat that a tennis player had autographed for him. I'll have that video up a little bit later this week. But thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful day, guys.